The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Good evening, and if you're just tuning in, you are listening to or watching UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, and this is Angel Rock. I'm your host, Laura Lee Potvin. Okay, we got TikTok up. I was trying to do it while I was talking here, so hang tight there for just a sec, guys. We want to get the live stream open on there. Give me one sec. Open live. Okay, a little bit about myself. If you've never been here before, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you also for being here. Welcome. Like I said, my name is Laura Lee Potvin. I am a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner. I'm a spiritual teacher and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse. I'm well versed in near-death experiences. Having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I'm also an animal communicator and well-versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it, it found me. We've shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to Carnation. They actually sponsor all the shows here on our network on Mondays. It's known as Carnation Mondays. Carnation is a global brand. So if you guys are out shopping, because we do broadcast to every country in the world, this network, actually, believe it or not, and you find something on your grocery list that Carnation provides, please consider supporting them, because they support all the great content that comes to you guys here on, we call it UPRN. The long name is UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And thank you, Carnation, for sponsoring us. Like I said, we do broadcast to every country in this world, in the world, obviously. But 80% of our audience is audio only. So if you're listening and you're thinking, hey, who's she talking to? How do I get in this conversation? I see people are asking questions. We're saying hello to people. I always say you got to see us to join us. So how you can do that, I'm going to rattle off really quickly. But under my name, it'll either be under Laura Lee Potvin or the Angel Rock. We're on my Facebook profile, LinkedIn, my YouTube, which is the Angel Rock with Laura Lee Potvin. We are also streaming on... I got to look here. We got a lot of Sonia, our guest tonight. You guys know her. She's been on many times. I'm going to introduce her in just a sec, but she's got all her platforms up here. She's almost the only one that takes advantage of it, and I'm so glad that she does. Anyways, we are also streaming on the Angel Rock under Laura Lee Potvin on TikTok. Under UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, we are on our Facebook page. We are on our main YouTube channel. We do have other channels for the network as well on YouTube. We are on our Twitch by the same name. And if you guys ever want to watch us on TV, you can. We do have our own TV channel for the network. You're going to go to Roku and go to the channel store, look for the search button. I think it's up in the upper right hand corner. You're going to type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down list. I think we're the third or fourth one down. You're looking for UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio, and that's how you can watch us on TV. I got my little checklist here to make sure I don't forget anything. Let me see. I'm going through everything quickly here. There's something I always forget usually, but I'll just keep going. It'll come back to me. We do have a website. It's uprntalkradio.com. It is getting revamped. I know I keep saying that, but it's a big job. We have multiple hosts who stream daily here live 7 days a week. When we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks in for the last 25 plus years. The network's been around, so we are streaming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But so it's going to take a while to get it all revamped. But I hear that we do have a chat room coming with the new website. So that'll be another place, if you're just watching, that you'll be able to join in. Or I should say, if you're just listening, to join in the conversation. Also, I hear there may be a merch store coming. And just so you guys know, it's not all just UFO or paranormal on the network. There really is something for everybody on the network. We're always adding new hosts and new shows. So be sure to check them all out. Like there's another 2 shows after me tonight. Right after this, there's Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron coming up with The Light Gate. So, like I say, check it out. Heidi Gall, who usually pops in here, if you're on Facebook, I don't know how she does it, but she makes up a whole schedule of the shows for the whole week, and she posts them for us on social media. We really appreciate that. So if you guys do like what you see, please like and share and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family about us. The more, the merrier. What else I want to tell you guys? I'm going through my list here. Usually I forget something. I do. If I remember, I'll remember. I will. I'm going to read our guest's bio. I took your bio from your website, because your website's been revamped, I noticed, from the last time.
Oh. Do you like it?
I do like it. Give me a sec. I got the wrong phone here. Hang on. I'm going to have too many devices here. This is how you guys know if anything ever happens, because I produce my own show. Most of us do our own shows on the network. I got another device ready to go. I'll be back on here in 2 seconds. God forbid something happens since we're live. So tonight we have back, and she's a big friend of the show. You guys always love when she comes on, and she always has great content. It's Sonia Roy, and she completed her studies at the University of Montreal. I'm not saying it properly, in psychoeducation in 1997. She is a retired corporal for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the RCMP. She owns and operates the Redo Spiritual Wellness Center in Drumheller, Alberta. Over the past 40 years, she developed her gifts as a medium, master holistic healer, and shamanic practitioner to heal those around her. These teachings were passed down from her maternal grandmother. She started practicing Reiki in 2013 and teaches and shares her knowledge through workshops, conferences around the world. She also produced bilingual manuals for all levels of Usui, Reiki. I'm not going to get this word correct. You can correct me after. Right? Is it Raiho? Is it Raiho?
Ryoho.
Okay, Ryoho, Tibetan, and Universal for teachers. She also developed the Wisdom School of Spiritual Transformation program to help people on their spiritual journey of learning and growth. And Sonia is able to offer her services in both English and French, as well as she's written an incredible number of fantastic books, which I've added this little part, including she has a new book for you guys tonight. And I just found out the title before we went live. But you guys, when she was on with this previous book, you guys really, really, really had a lot of interactions, a lot of questions. And I said, including narcissism, 12 steps to successfully heal and flourish. And we're going to be talking about our new book tonight. Welcome. Welcome.
Hello. I'm back.
You are back. We have you on quite often because you were last time you were on, we were talking about the Bach flower essences, and people really love that. But before we get deep into conversation, let's say hi to everybody, because what happens, you and I get talking and now they suspended me again. God knows why. They do this all the time to me on TikTok now. They suspended my gift giving and anybody giving me gifts and hiding the live. And I thought it was because I can say it now, I guess, because they've already done it. But I absolutely love this new platform called Whatnot. And a lot of Canadians on there. It's kind of like a live auction, anything. I've seen tarot readings, crystals, collectibles, you name it, you can buy it on there. Reasonable shipping, super nice people. Some of the stores I absolutely love. Mind's Eye. There's another couple I met. I think they live out west, but I think they're from Quebec. I think it's Blindsy. There's Hailstar, a whole bunch of them. You guys check them out, because I'm telling you, I have met the nicest people over there. It just wonderful people. If you are considering, you can sell on there super easy. If you're looking for something special, great place. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just telling you, great place to meet nice people. I have a code too, you guys. If you guys decide you want to sign up, hit me up in Messenger on social media. I'll be happy to share it with you. Gives you a little something extra to sign up with. Anyways, let's say hi to everybody, because I thought
there's a lot of people there already.
Well, I thought, that's okay. I thought I got penalized last 2 weeks for mentioning Whatnot. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to mention it, see what happens. They did it to me anyways. So hang on, guys. That's okay. It's laid back here. Super laid back. So we got Seasun Dragon, or as I call him by his muggle name, Kevin. Hi, Lorley. Hi, Sonia. We got Julie Jean Bassett saying hi to everyone. Always give Julie a shout out. She's been on the Angel Rock a few times. She's my animal communication mentor, I call her. She feel free to put it in the chat, Julie. I know you got a new beginner animal communication course coming up. You guys, I highly recommend it. You always wondered what's going on with your pets. You don't need to be psychic to do it. I am telling you, I think it's our birthright. And Julie's a fantastic teacher. Also, if you're ever having problems with your pets and they are driving you insane and you're thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do or how to get through to them, Julie is your lady. She's an incredible healer. She's also a shamanic practitioner. So you can get a hold of her on juliejeanbassett.com or for the shamanic things on whitetailshamanichealing.com. We got Carrie Fast here. Hi. We got Sherry Madigan. She says, hello, Lorley and Sonia. Great to be here. Sherry, I saw your pictures of your gorgeous grandchild. He is absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations. I meant to say that the last time you were here. We got Mish. And Mish, you know, I love to tease you good-naturedly. I always say she's joining us from the future because she's over in Australia and it's Tuesday morning over there. She's saying good day to you and I. Let's see, everybody saying hi to one another, which we love. Got Astrolight Paranormal or Victoria. She's been on the Angel Rock before. And I'm talking about this in October, you guys. And if you guys have ideas for Spooky Month, I know it seems like it's miles away, but it'll be beyond us before we know. You got ideas for that month. That's when we really put out the spooky stuff. I'm really thinking about putting together a panel with a bunch of women. Not that I'm leaving the boys out, but we don't see this too often with the women talking about spooky stuff and paranormal. So I think Victoria is going to be part of that if she's still able to be there. I would love to have her there too. So let's see. Everybody saying hi. Oh, Kevin says, I'm going to highlight this. The ladies are glowing tonight. Two beauties. Well,
thank you.
We appreciate all compliments are welcome. Let's see. We've got
Ian.
Ian. Yeah, Ian Canadian Merco. Is that somebody from your group?
No.
No. Oh, well, welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. Because you're streaming to your platforms too. So hang on. Let's keep going. Oh, there's Heidi Gall. Were your ears burning, Heidi? I was just talking about you at the beginning of the show, saying good day, Lorley and Sonia. Much love from Boulder, Colorado. She's driving, she says, so drive safe. Let's see. I don't know what they've done. Have you used StreamYard lately? I don't know what they've done with producing it. They put this share button right over the arrow to move up and down.
Yeah.
And you keep hitting it, trying to go up and down. It's ridiculous.
I think we got everybody.
Did we? That's okay. I still make sure I go through. Oh, no, we didn't, because I want to highlight this for Julie. So Julie's Beginner Animal Communication workshop, May 23rd and 24th for 2 to 3 hours each day. And the Animal Chakra course is great too, you guys. I took that course as well. And even though I work with chakras, I did not know that animals have 9 main chakras. So that's a really fun course too. So you guys check that out with Julie for sure. Hang on. There, did it again. I'm telling you, StreamYard, you got to stop changing things. You guys don't see it, but they keep putting up the share link. Let's see. Okay, let me go. See, we didn't. I got to check TikTok. We're good over there. I don't even know for streaming. We'll see.
TikTok.
Now we're done. Now we said hi to everybody. So you got a new girl. You know what? I went to your website and you revamped it. It looks excellent. I love it. It's very organized. You just go into the menu. You've got a shop. I really love the new site. But I was absolutely floored. I knew you wrote a bunch of books, but holy crap. And you just wrote another one. So do you want to show people, tell people about it?
There it is.
It's beautiful.
So, thank you. I was trying to match the color of the sky, right? And it's just like, it's a really bright
Thanks.
So yeah, it's basic spiritual principle theory book level 1. And the reason why I did this is because I teach a lot of classes, and some of the students like, you know what, I love the classes, and then I go home and look over my notes and I don't even understand myself. And the idea of teaching the class is that the folks will participate, right? They will actually engage in what they've learned and be able to apply what they've learned. And I find that's usually the issue. That's where, you hit a snag. They put it aside for a few days and then they kind of forget this, they forget that. So I've been promising to write the theory books. And when I started writing it, I'm up to 600 pages. So I was like,
wow.
Maybe I'll divide this in 3 different levels. So every time that I make a change, obviously I have to go back and sit down and go, okay, so how am I going to organize this? And what would be classes that are super important, but basic, the basic information that someone actually needs when they step into spirituality, right? To then grow into their own abilities and their own gifts. And so The level 1 book has the explanation of what a soul reading is. Also going along with what everybody calls a soul contract. We call it a letter of agreement with
So just
all.
remember, people listening, some people will never have heard these terms before. They won't have a clue what
Okay,
that is.
so stop me.
You may have to explain that a little bit.
Right. So, and that's basically in this book we talk about Akashic record. So in Akashic record, we teach you that you're a soul, right? You're not a human having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And I'm not the first one to say this. Other people said this before me. The importance is that you have to understand what the laws of the universe are, what the laws of karmas are. And if you go to a different country and you don't know, in Canada, pot is legal. If you go to Korea, it's not. And you're like, well, I didn't know, but that's on you, right? If you're going to take this trip, you should learn the rules before you leave. The only problem with our soul is that our soul has forgotten all the what the rules are. So we need to reacquaint ourselves with those things. So inside the Akashic record, I explain to you what the soul is, how we come to be incarnated on Earth, how you have a plan. So it's not utter destiny. You do have free will, so you can choose to do this or not do this, or do it well or not do it well at all. But your soul is still had in mind a certain journey it wanted to go through while it was incarnated in this body in this lifetime. And so it comes with strengths and it comes with weaknesses, things that it wishes to get better at and learn about. And so that's all included in your letter of agreement. Now, the reason why we're changing the word from soul contract to letter of agreement is because I've had recently a few sessions with a channel called Kevin Ryerson. And the gentleman used to work with Shirley MacLaine, and he's listed in several of her books. And we recently just watched Out on a Limb, and I was like, he looks younger than Shirley MacLaine. Maybe this guy's still alive, and he was, and he still does sessions for people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm booking a session right away. And one of the things I asked this channel was to look over all the books that I've written and all the classes that I teach. And I said, I really, really want to know if I'm inducing anybody into mistakes or errors, or, if I'm explaining something wrong, I want to know, right? Because I'm doing this to help people be productive, be feeling empowered, and, really getting into their own while they're incarnated on Earth. So if I made mistakes, I need to know. And he suggested that instead of contract, we called it letter of agreement. He says a contract sounds forcing someone to accomplish something where you're agreeing to participate, but you're still, if it doesn't suit you anymore, you can step out of it. Just like when you get married, you think everything's going to go swell, and then it doesn't all of a sudden, and you want a divorce, right?
So I have someone in the comments, not here, but on TikTok, that literally wrote HUH, like, huh? Question mark. Like I told you, some people will never have heard these terms before. So I'm glad you're explaining that. The other thing I got to say, I like that. I think he's right. Letter of agreement, because the contract sounds legally binding. That
so it sounds very strong. And
if you don't fulfill your end of the contract, you're negating on the contract. There could be punishments, and that's not what this is. So I think he's right. Letter of agreement.
And if we take my ex-husband, for example, we had an agreement. I came in Dharma for him and not in Karma for him, which was another surprise. He's like, you got to start teaching more about Karma is not the only thing that souls are here about. And you're in Dharma.
What is Dharma? I don't know what in Dharma versus
Karma is
I know what Karma is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Karma is you're here to learn lessons. And so if you haven't had a chance to learn it before, you're given a new opportunity to learn the lesson. And Dharma is that you are here more as a helper for other people to try and learn their lessons, to try and pull them from their muck into the light. And so I did that for my mother and my ex-husband, and it was like, wow, I felt really generous.
It makes it a lot more palatable when you have the people in your life that cause you a lot of pain and a lot of problems. So I like that. I'm gonna just say this for Mish here. Oh, I got the wrong one. Hang on, I gotta go up one. Thanks. It was just Mish. Sorry, I thank you StreamYard for this button, which I don't like. She says, "Get married, you change your name, things change." Never changed my name. Was I being psychic? Was I being prophetic? I always hyphenated my name, and I used to joke before I got married. I was my ex-husband used to say before we got married, well, of course, Laura Lee can change your, or he said something about not changing my name because I've always been Laura Lee. But what I used to say is, I'm not changing my name. I'm hyphenating it so it'll be easier when I get divorced. Uh, the reason why I didn't actually was because professionally, as a nurse and teaching and everything else, I was always Laura Lee Potvin. So I always hyphenated. So you don't always change your name.
No. Actually, funny thing in Quebec, even those that changed their name were reverted back to their maiden name. So it's a thing in Quebec. As for me, I just went to the driver's license office. I showed them my marriage certificate and just got put my married name on my driver's license. But I never actually went through a whole name change. I hadn't done it properly, I guess.
Yeah, I can use either name. I can use either name, but I just dropped because my son that passed away, my married hyphenated name was Potvin McIver. So he went under McIver. And my eldest used to, but he takes my name now, Potvin. He chooses to, and that's what he does. I'm going to share this comment here from Carrie. She says, I spoke with a woman born in Trinidad that when she was born, she was taken to Hindu priests. They looked at her zodiac chart and was given her hidden name, her soul name, to track her soul journey. That's really interesting. Wow.
And, speaking of soul name, when you're doing soul retrieval and you go into people's pre-incarnations, right? You can figure out what your name was in each of these incarnations. And what we've located is that there's always going to be, as long as your mother, whoever named you, was aligned with the energies, they'll always figure out what your name was, even though it's close. So my soul name is finishes with YA, and all of my previous names always go along that trend. I have another student of mine, every past life, her name starts with J-O, like Joanne, Joe, Joseph, Joshua, right? Because her soul name starts with that sound. And so it's very interesting that the Hindu priest would have, found the soul name of the individual.
My name's spelled so weird. I get called every name under the sun. When I was mentioning Mind's Eye, and I was just watching their live before, and I loved one of the owners, Shan. She's just had a baby. Her daughter's name is she's so cute and such a pretty name, Amelie. Anyways, she insists on calling me Lorelei. Lorelei. Like, it doesn't matter if I tell her, she goes, well, you're just Lorelei now. It's easier for me to say. Right? And I get L'Oreal. I get every name under the sun. So I usually just tell people, just call me Lore. Everybody that knows me, that's a friend of mine, calls me Lore, Lor. It's just easier.
and therefore, in your soul name, Lore would be the place where your name would, fit. So in your past life, you would always have the Lore part. And
that would make sense.
Yeah, that when I was a little kid, people call me Sonia, and I'm like, that's not my name. My name is Sophia, and it'd be like, no, Sonia, your name is Sonia. It's not Sophia. Yeah. And it turns out that in my past life, I was alive in Hamburg, Germany, up to 1943, and my name was Sophia. So I'm still carrying the memory of that past life with me, and I was like, no, my name is Sophia. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, my mother apparently wanted to call me Chantal. And my father wouldn't hear of it. And I'm named after German mythology. We're not German. And it's a really morbid thing I'm named after. It's the Loreleis that were these beautiful sirens that used to sing their songs, I think, on the River Rhine, on the cliffs, and lure sailors crashing in their boats into the rocks to their death. And I always say, if I sang at the top of a cliff, yes, people probably would crash into the cliffs, but because I can't sing, but the name. Ian just shared this. He said, I always thought we picked our name before we came here. Maybe if your parents change it at birth?
Well, your soul name is the same from the beginning of time until now,
Yeah.
so that would never change. The only thing is that your parents, depending on how intuitive your parent, whoever named you, feels the name, or tries to work a name from what they feel sounds right. Like one of the things this channel said to me was, I said, so I'm pretty sure we confirmed a few past lives, right? So first of all, I had a total of 64 past lives. And I was like, really? He's like, what? He says, you don't like the number? I said, I just think it's a very small number.
So do I, yeah.
I mean, I was expecting 1,511 kind of thing, right? But 64. And I was able to track up to, I got 42 of my past life tracked down. So I'm like, I'm almost done. I'm almost going to know the story of my soul and how this evolution of my soul has taken place to be who I am today, right? So I thought it was pretty cool. And my roommate and I had 8 lives together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he says, you must be able to complete each other's sentences. I said, actually, sometimes I don't even have to talk. I'll just think of something and she'll show up with whatever I was thinking about in the office. Like, do you need more water? And I'll be like, yeah, actually, just thinking about it. And so she can pick up my wavelengths. We've had synchronicity in so many lifetimes together. So
that's interesting because one of my close friends, I'm that way. Like, I'll know, like, and they don't even live in the same country, and they'll be thinking about me, and I'll be like, oh, I got to call them. And I was just thinking about you, like that kind of stuff, right? And so that kind of explains maybe some of these synchronicities that we have with people that aren't necessarily in a romantic relationship, but a friend or, sibling relationship or whatever it could be. Oh, Julie says she's had 64 too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, I was really surprised. And one of the things that he explained to me was that I've always come in a time of peace. So I was never interested in killing or dealing with wars. So most of my incarnation was in peaceful times. Most of them, I was a virgin. I was a priestess. I was an oracle. I was a nun. So he's like, you've had, very, very, very few existence where you actually had a sexual partner kind of thing or a relationship or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that rings kind of true. And most of the time I was living within communities that were like Eden. So in one of the lives near what is now Pakistan, I used to be able to communicate with animals and tell the animals, like the monkeys, to help me get the mangoes out of the trees. And in exchange, I would give a few mangoes to the monkeys, and the monkeys would harvest all my mangoes for me.
Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong one. I misunderstood, as I usually do when I'm trying to work a show and do comments. So Julie clarified her comment. She says that, here, where is it? Actually, I was agreeing that it sounded low. I'm not sure how many past lives I've had. Okay, you guys, and I apologize because I do that often. Like, I'm doing 20 things at once. I'm listening. I'm thinking about the conversation. I'm working all the buttons here, and I'm flipping back and forth between a couple social media platforms because not all the chat goes in the same spot that we're broadcasting to. So thanks, Julie, for clarifying. Also want to say hi to Julia Evans. I saw you pop in. I'm glad you're here. It's late over in the UK, so thank you for joining us. We've got a couple comments and questions here. Hang on. I know Mish mentioned this a couple shows ago, so I think it's important, and I'm going to mention it because it's funny, but Mish is always funny, but she says, we had to write our names on the blackboard in year 1 over in Australia. She says, I think it says year 1. Yeah, my glasses on. I wrote Amy. I got in trouble. My name is Michelle. And you've mentioned it a few times, Mish. So, and I'm glad that you have because it's funny. But I wonder, what do you think of that? Because that's interesting. As a child, when you were mentioning, you said you were Sophia.
Yes.
And Sonia. Like, do you think that has some bearing in what her soul name would be?
Yeah, there would be the me part. Right, the Amy to the Michelle, the me is there, so that would be
yeah,
yeah, and that's why it's important to listen to young children when they speak. Right, there's a lot of books out there that have been written that have confirmed the child remembered enough information. They were able to prove, that
Oh,
he
I
was
have
telling the truth.
studied that with the near death things for over 40 years. It fascinates the heck out of me with children that remember their past lives and can be proved, especially.
So,
Mhm.
they're, in the Greek mythology, they say that you have to drink a certain drink to forget. Well, I bypassed that line because I remember them all. And the channel even invited me that maybe those are the new books I should write. I should write my soul story and
Mhm.
explain the importance of remembering your past lives, because it's your journey that your soul took. And then it would make sense to, why are you here now doing what you're doing, right? So anyway, so he mentioned that the only thing that was missing from the program that I put together was he wanted me to talk about the Kabbalah and the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Life.
Mhm.
So we created a new class that's now going to be available on that topic, particularly because I have studied Kabbalah, but because I didn't think that people would be interested in learning that. He says, no, that's super important. You have to include it. It's part of everything. I'm like, okay. And
Okay, there's
yeah.
going to be people again. What is a Kabbalah?
Okay. Well,
Yes.
Kabbalah
Hold
is
that thought for one sec, because I do need to give a quick shout out. One sec here. Michelle Wilfong's over on TikTok. You guys, she's my moderator. I'm so grateful because she hangs out over there, so she doesn't always get to chat with everybody in the chat. She does such a great job, and I really appreciate everything she does for me on TikTok. You guys, she has her own TikTok channel called My Haunted Apartment, where she lives. She picks up some pretty crazy activity that she documents over there. So please go give her a follow, because she really works hard over here on TikTok for me. So I appreciate it. Go ahead, Sonia.
I'm just gonna pull the to see. Edgar Casey spoke of Kabbalah,
Yeah.
and
You gotta remember, like I said, and you guys, I'm not bragging about this. We have well, 2 weeks ago, we had 1.1 million people watching live from around the world. We almost have like close to a million, if not over, watching live. So there are people just popping in here. Like some lady just wrote, huh? Because they've never heard these terms. They have no idea what any of these things are. But please go ahead.
So I'll show you the image. This is the book by Edgar Casey, but this is sacred geometry, right? So the symbol between the hands there, that's the symbol for Kabbalah, and which is the tree of life. All right. So if you go back in the Jewish tradition at the very beginning, remember we have Adam and Eve, and there's the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. And they weren't supposed to take from the tree of knowledge, and then it was called evil. And and this is where he wants me to teach and clarify. There's been misconception about what happened in the Garden of Eden, and it's the difference between knowing what is right and what is not, and choosing what is right. Right. So it's very old, and because it comes from the Jewish tradition, it's not been very clear because there's a lot of translation. And so I needed several books to make clarity of the whole topic. But I only teach that in my level 3 because the way we've built the system is that we're talking about the basic principles, and then we put building blocks on top of it. So as you understand more the concepts of the soul and energy and how to transfer energy and how the energy drama occur, then we're able to move forward, right? And then give you more building blocks, and in the end build a beautiful pyramid of knowledge that you can stand on and have a solid foundation to be who you're meant to be this entire time.
I like that. We got a few comments here.
Yes.
So Z-Sun Dragon, or I always call him by his muggle name, Kevin, he says, all my life people called me Steven, which sounds nothing like Kevin. All different circles of people, even online, I get called Steven, and I've had to correct people all the time. So is there anything that he imparted with you about that? Like, because that's really weird. Like that, some people.
No, not really, because the Vin is there. Right? So it would be the Vin part.
There you go. There you go.
And it's to me, they're all obvious. When I have someone taking a class with me sometimes and I call them by the wrong name, they're like, oh, that's not my name. I said, that's correct. In this lifetime, you have a different name, but in a past life, when we worked together, that was your name, and that's how my soul remembers you. So everybody who's been calling you Steven, I've had an interaction with you in that past life when their name was Steven. So you must have been a very public figure if a lot of people call you by that name.
You are a popular guy.
He certainly was.
Carrie says, I figured out the soulmate thing. We are connected, but soulmates are vibrating at the same frequency to match. Reading Journey of the Soul describes we incarnate with soulmates to learn together.
Okay, so let's clarify the soulmate thing. And this comes from the channel again. So this is knowledge from the other side, which is what I consider to be pure knowledge, not interpreted or, that devised by humans. So where most of my teaching come from my grandma, who's passed away and taught me from the other side, right? So you were created with a partner at the very, very, very beginning. Source didn't want you to create by ego, so gave you a co-creating partner to discuss things before you start, creating awful things, and that would be your soulmate. Now, if you've been incarnated with the same soul over several lifetimes, like my roommate and I, 8 lifetimes, we're called twin souls, because our experience has been matching from lifetime to lifetime, and so we're almost like twins, almost identical in frequency. And then who was it that posted that comment?
Carrie.
What Carrie is talking about is a twin flame. So someone that are very, very, very close in frequency that almost matches your soulmate that you were created at the beginning. And then there's a lot of powerful energy exchange between those two beings, and they can create amazing things.
But the thing that happens with this, I don't know if you see it, but I do. And because twin flame has become a big buzzword out there, I get tons of people that'll contact me. I've met my twin flame. It's not a common thing.
No.
And meeting up with your twin flame, and same thing with a soulmate. A soulmate isn't just necessarily a romantic partner, because a lot of people think it is.
Absolutely not. Actually, the only time that your soulmate will be incarnated at the same time as you is if you're identical twins.
Somebody just said that. I bet Ian did. He said, I bet twins are like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the only time soulmates, which were, remember, co-creating partner created at the very beginning of time together, incarnate at the same time, is when they're identical twins. Otherwise, some people would say, oh, I have a guardian angel, or I feel always there's a presence accompanying me everywhere, or, well, that's your soulmate. So if you're looking for your soulmate, just look over your shoulder. They're right there.
My son, my eldest son, I went through all kinds of fertility treatment. So I know when I got pregnant, I know everything. He almost was a twin. There were 2 eggs, but only one turned into him. And I often wonder, because we've talked about this throughout the years, and he almost feels like he's missing, I think, not recently, when he was growing up, almost like you feel like you're missing that piece. And I felt that myself growing up, and I think other people have too. So that I'm glad that you shared that's your.
So it's the way that I introduce that in the classroom is I have an obsidian mirror, but you can also do it with a TV screen that's turned off, right? Because they're a little bit reflective, and you can stand in front of the TV and then just lose focus when you're looking at it, and then you'll see an image forming, and you will be able to meet your soulmate. And then you can communicate with them and hear their name or feel their hand on your shoulder, and
scrying, basically. So, and you can use water sometimes for things like that. Some people can do it with smoke, some people can do it with flame, but it would be easier, and I think more a TV. Most people have a TV, not everyone, most people do. Right? Or an obsidian mirror. Mish says, I'd always tell my dad, bet you wished I was a twin. Pig's bottom, he would say. Dad, well,
not sure what that means. So.
Mish, I wonder where your sense of humor comes from.
So in the book we cover the basic of these things. So the book is available on Amazon, so you don't have to take the classes from me to access the book, which is
and it's out now. Sonia, it's out now.
Oh yeah.
I
You
didn't
can,
see it on your website. Maybe I missed it because I didn't know what I was looking for.
yeah.
But I knew.
It's not there yet on the
Okay,
website.
good.
I
I
have
knew
to.
I would have seen it because I know most of your books, and I was going through there and I'm going, I don't see a new one yet.
It's trying to catch up to everything because I have 3 online classes that I'm teaching, right? So now they have a book that comes with the class. So I've been working on those 3 books. 2 of them are finished, and I'm teaching the classes already. Online 3 is going to be available January 2027 to teach it. Then I have the 3 theory books, so that I'm working on. And I'm also creating a book now. So when you come for the retreats, the 1-week retreats, you get a book to carry home with you and write all your progress in there. So lots and lots and lots and lots of writing. So I've been focusing on producing the manuals, and I haven't had chance to go on the website and just say, hey, there's a new book, folks. It's getting there. I'll put it on my to-do list because I just need one more thing to
Well,
do.
that's good to know though that you can get it on Amazon. That's good to know then.
Yeah.
So there was something else before we started, you were telling me some of the things that it covered, even tarot, but there was something else you told me before that the chakras.
Forgiveness, learning all about forgiveness.
Oh, that was it. Thank you, because that's exactly the word I was thinking. What did you say? Yeah, can we talk about that a little bit? Because that's a really hard thing to do, but I think it's really important as part of anybody's journey here, especially when it comes to healing.
Yeah. I remember growing up being super stressed about karma because I'm like, how much karma do I have to clear? How much karma is attached to me? How can I clear this? And the easiest way to clear karma is forgiveness. So rather than
talk about karma maybe before forgiveness, you got to remember, like a lot of people think karma is a punishment, and karma is not a punishment. So
it is not. Right. So karma is the law of evolution. So you come on earth to learn the important lessons the soul wants to learn. So you're not coming to learn business and money management. You're coming to learn compassion, love,
patience,
honesty, right? You're coming to learn these things because when you're out of body and you're just the soul, you don't have a choice to be honest. You're see-through, everybody can read your soul. So you don't need to be honest. You automatically are. You don't need to be compassionate. You're swimming in love, So it's when you're being challenged that you still have to choose those things. So karma is there to keep track of how you're doing, a little bit like a report card. So one of the example I can give you is, let's say there's A and B. In a past life, A punched B in the nose and broke his nose. Technically, one way to learn the lesson is that they'll be reincarnated, and this time B can punch A in the nose to show him just how bad it hurts. Yeah. However, A and B have evolved because we don't get reincarnated with the same people every lifetime. Right. A has evolved, and now A and B meet again, and B carries huge sinus issues, but A is now a healer. And now that A has learned to be a healer, he heals B without B having to punch him in the face.
Got you. Because this is a lot of questions I get, and I'm sure you do too. Like a lot of people, because and the way I usually try and explain it is, you're here to have a human experience. I think I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, and I said, basically, I'll take myself for example. I chose that this vehicle, Laura Lee, is what my soul has chosen to have this journey, this incarnation on this lifetime, right?
Yes.
But because a lot of people, and it's hard, right? When we look at things, when we see things like people that commit mass unaliving, I'll say with YouTube out there, or they hurt a lot of people, and well, the big question is why, there is no God, because why would God allow it? Well, we know that. I mean, that's a whole show we could do, but that's not how it is. But I get people saying that. So usually how I try to explain it to my student is, you are not your soul when you're here. Your soul is here. And I say the way you connect with your soul is when you are, working in that high vibration in a place of love and compassion, all the things you just mentioned, right? Yes. When you're connecting with it, but you're here to have a human experience. So when we're looking at things, we're looking at them with human eyes, with that human experience. Human vehicle. But when we go back home, and I love the way you explained it, we are nothing but love, nothing but those high vibrational things. So there isn't this, like, people will think like you need to be punished severely, you need to do this. This is how it happens with karma, because we're looking at it with our human eyes instead of understanding that there's a different perspective that we take
Exactly.
when we go back to soul form, right?
And Kevin says, well, there he always thought that it was good karma and bad karma, and that's duality, right? And that's the human perception in the third dimension. It's like if I ask you, is heat a good thing or a bad thing? And you're going to say, well,
Neither.
it's neither. Heat
It
is
just
useful
is.
when you're warming up food, but sometimes when it's super hot, it's not pleasant. But it's not
Too much of a
nor
good
bad.
thing. Too much of a good thing sometimes.
That's right. And the same thing with cold, and the same thing. So it's all duality. And we think in duality terms because we're thinking with our human mind. So learning the basic spiritual principle allows you to get out of thinking with a human mind and try to think with a more spiritual aspect or perspective, and stop looking at comparison, and allowing yourself to just be, right? And having experiences. So it was a comment. There's someone says, I let God
Can you
sort it
highlight?
out.
Can you highlight, or can I only highlight?
I don't know. Let me see.
You can highlight. If you can, I'll highlight. If you
So
can.
it's Mish. She says, if anyone does me wrong, I feel God will sort it out. Well, not quite, because you have to make sure that you are not attached to it anymore. You have to let that go, and you have to have an understanding that honestly, broken people are being hurting other people, right? So they don't come from a good place because they might not know any better. So if I take my mom for an example, I wanted my mom to love me, and I wanted her to be nurturing and caring. However, she had no concept of what that looked like to her. So I had to be the one to step up and be kind to her, even though she was not. I had to be loving to her, even though she was not, right? So I had to step out of my own need and my own pain and just go, what does this soul need? And this soul needs attention, it needs caring, it needs loving, and that's what I will give. And that's the difference between karma and dharma. When you're in dharma, you're understanding that the pain it's irrelevant, and you can just step out of it and let it go and be what others need to feel better and make this world a better place for everyone.
I was going to say, Ian says, I got to take the cats out for their after dinner walk. Be back soon. Oh, I'd like to see that. If you get a video, I think that'd be so cool. But whenever you're back, thank you. That'd be nice. Kevin says he loves that, Ian. And then Kevin adds, so if you do good deeds all the time and good things come back to you, is that karma or not?
No, if you do the good deeds, that is dharma. See,
because
the karma,
else
because the concept of karma has been mixed up with so many other things that there's a misunderstanding of what karma is. Karma is just a lesson that you need to learn. Once you've learned that lesson, you fall into dharma, which is where you now know that how to do things in a better way. And it's very, very important not to fall into the sloth, which is one of the deadly sins. Because if you know better, your punishment is worse. If you, and I mean punishment in a sense that the after cause and effect that's going to occur is going to be more blatant on someone who knows better than someone who doesn't know at all.
So what kind of punishment are you talking about then? Where would this punishment come from then? I'm just asking truly out of curiosity, because, and again, this opens up a whole can of worms, and it took me a long time to try and understand it and fathom it.
Let's take a
retired Catholic and hell. Are you talking about afterlife?
No. I talk about something very simple that everybody's going to understand. You know that you are to learn about patience, and you know that you're to learn love and compassion. And then you have a driver that cuts you off and, causes you to hit the brakes, and that's
an opportunity from the universe.
And so you have to think, okay, well, this person has got a lot on their mind. They're late for work, and they're only thinking about themselves, and they're not very caring about anybody else on the road. Hopefully they make it home safe, and you let it go, right? You just abandon the idea, or you know all this, and yet you speed up, cut him off, push on the brakes, make sure you make his life miserable for at least 10 kilometers until you must exit, right? And so that your driving is causing perhaps a big accident, which you will have to live with the consequences that you caused this accident because you couldn't let go, and you knew that that was the behavior you should have, right? But
I'm
if
gonna
someone doesn't,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Go
so
ahead.
and that's the consequences are, or especially since 2012, much more closer in impact. Like rather than it taking 3 lifetime before you see the consequences, you get the consequences right here and now.
I'm gonna
So
say, Kevin, you said dharma. Oh, never heard that word. I've heard the word. I've never used it in conversation, but I certainly, as soon as you explained how you were using that word, I absolutely understood it. I just didn't have a name for it, but I absolutely understood it. So, and then somebody added that it comes from Hinduism, and what was the other thing they said? Hinduism and
Buddhism.
Buddhism. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's part of the teachings of Buddha, right? So anything that follows Buddha's teachings, but Hinduism and Buddhism have a close knit relationship. Like they both use the word prana for energy, and so they could also use the Dharma word.
Mm-hmm. No, like I say, and if you don't study that, right, you might not
Yeah.
necessarily know what those words are.
And
So,
my practice is based on the golden rule that every single religion or cultural belief in the world came from the same place, originated from the same beginning. So I'm always open to allowing any of these cultures to play a role in the teachings that I teach. And
mm-hmm.
But sometimes there's a word that is that directly explains what I'm talking about. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I think Carrie had also added something to the. Let me grab her comment here. Oh, I'm going too high up here. Yeah, because Kevin was saying the word karma, that was what had him stumped. And that's why I said let's talk a bit about it, because people, it's hard to understand because you hear it from so many different places and different
Mm-hmm.
people, that people tend to treat karma like a punishment, and it's not. So
It's more of a cause and effect than a punishment.
Well, the way I've always understood it for myself is that, kind of along the lines of the way I understood, the way you explained it, is we're going to have the experience. We're going to have that experience, whether we do it to someone and it's a learning experience. It's not a punishment. But I loved what you added about how we can negate some of that karma by using person A and person B. Person A has evolved. When it's their turn to have that lifetime with person B again, instead of having to have the physical experience, they're able to help that other person, right? Like help them heal, help clear that karma. So Carrie added, Z-Sun, it's also scriptural. You reap what you sow. So good or bad, you will reap. Jesus had some good teachings on this.
Yeah. And Jesus was trying to teach the same thing that Buddha did, but Buddha used a more mental teaching as opposed to Jesus used a more emotional teaching. So Jesus came from the heart, whereas Buddha came more from the mind. So they're both teaching the same thing. They're just trying to teach it differently. So helping more people in the circle of bringing them in and allowing them to understand the spiritual world. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into forgiveness now. I know we had a bit of a conversation about that, but forgiveness is a huge thing. And I'm going to use an example before you even start. There was somebody I took a course with years ago, and they had some serious mental health issues, and I really just didn't jive with them. I got put together with them. There were people from all over the world, and they don't live in our continent. And I just really didn't connect. And I knew at that time that I needed to create distance. Out of nowhere, I get the most creepiest, awful, hateful messages from this person maybe 6 months ago. So
really?
So I blocked them. And then this weekend again, I get notification. It was from my previous teacher in the course. I won't mention what one it is. And this person and I were put in a group, and she tried to put us together to work together. She was still putting hateful, evil, awful, horrific messages. And you know what came to me quickly was, oh my God, my heart hurts for you that I'm living rent free in your head still. I never did anything to them, but no, but that I know that it's an extreme thing and it's not quite the example of forgiveness, but that's why it's so important. Part of the reasons with forgiveness and healing and evolving and growing. But please share what you feel your thoughts are on forgiveness and why it's so important.
Okay, so I think that I personally, that's one of the lessons I came to learn in order to teach it to others. So I've had horrible experiences to be able to learn about forgiveness. My biggest thing was I was very angry for what was done to me, right? Because if you didn't want a child, you shouldn't have had the child, or you should
I've
have,
said that before too about my parents.
right? So
There's birth control.
so there was a lot of hurt, and on top of that hurt there was a lot of anger, and the anger was ruling my life, right? It was making my life completely miserable. And
I'm going to start this. We'll talk about this in a
yeah,
minute.
and well, all right, so let me explain this, and then we can see if you guys have more questions, if I can explain it clearly.
We do have some questions for you.
Yeah. So first of all, I came to learn about forgiveness. So I volunteered to go through horrible experiences in order to learn to forgive. So that's the
But
first.
we usually don't. Like, if you want to learn about patience, it's highly unlikely you're going to end up being born into a monastery with a bunch of monks up in Tibet. You are going to be faced with somebody pushing your buttons and buttons and buttons and buttons and buttons until you get it. And then you still might bring it back just to see if you really got it.
and I was more than willing to try and forgive. My problem was, if I forgive them, it feels like what they've done makes it okay. And I don't know why I was thinking like that, but I think a lot of people think like that. If I forgive them, they don't get punished. So it feels like I'm telling them what you've done is okay. And that's not it at all, right? What they've done is still not okay. And you guys don't maybe not know the whole story, but I was horribly abused. Yeah, I've written my biography, and a lot of people are like, I couldn't get past half the book, but I said, that's the good half.
Can I just interject here quickly for one sec? Kev, thanks for the reminder. We don't have to do the station ID in the middle anymore, but thank you for the reminder. And that's very funny, Mish. What would we be doing right now if your parents did use birth control, Lauralee? Thank you, Mish. Go ahead.
So we have chosen our parents for them. And every letter of agreement is perfectly balanced. So what the lesson you get to have from it, they also can have a possibility of gaining just as much as you. So everything is balanced, even though it may not seem like it. Everything is. If you were born in a molesting kind of situation, your soul felt very strongly about it and was hoping to be strong enough to come and speak and break the silence and stop it for future generation, right? But when you're 4 and 5, you don't see that. You just are in horrible pain. But the thing is that you also put teachers and helpers along the way for you to get that knowledge, that insight, and to grow and to be able to get there. So now you my biggest thing was, it's not okay. So how can I let it go? How can I let go of that and it's going to be okay? And the second thing was, if I forgive them and I'm in their presence again, does that mean, especially in my parents' case, that I have to be the good daughter again? Because then I'll just be abused all over again, right? So I didn't understand that it's okay to set boundaries. You can forgive.
I was just thinking that, boundaries.
Right? So, and I think that's where people misunderstand that it's not because you reach forgiveness in your heart that it means that you have to be friends with them again, or you have to be, a victim again. No, it does not. It means that you can set boundaries, and which I did with my mother. I said, you can't talk to me like that. You can't hit me anymore. You can't do this. You can't do that. Right. So, and she didn't like that. She's like, well, why are you coming here then? I said, because you're my mother, and I feel I have the duty as your daughter to be here and help you because you're getting old. So the thing is that because I no longer had the anger in me, she didn't seem to be able to respond with anger either. because she couldn't reflect back at me what was no longer inside of me. So when you're forgiving, you're helping yourself. You're doing this for you, but you're also at the same time doing something for them, because what happens is you have these two individuals, and you forgive you.
I'm
I
going to
didn't
read
do
it out
anything
loud for the
wrong.
people. I'm going to just read I know it's kind of redundant for people watching, but people listening will have no clue what we're talking about. So Mish just asked the question: you forgive for you, not them, correct?
That's
Question mark.
right. The most important for the forgiveness is that while you're still angry, while you're still resentful, there's a chain between you and them. And unfortunately, you're trying to go in a new direction. You're trying to change. You're trying to live a different kind of life. But the chain prevents you from moving forward. In my case, the anger was the chain, right? So I couldn't live a peaceful, happy, wonderful life because I was still always angry. But the minute that I was able to forgive, and I'll finish that in a second, the chain no longer exists and I'm free to go my own way. And the person here is now free because they've been forgiven to change, because they're not being held back by your anger and your resentment and whatever other emotion were holding them back from change. And so you don't forget, because it's in your past and it's part of your experience, but you don't have to be a victim anymore. So you can take what happened and it becomes an empowerment for you, because now you're forgiven. And in my case, I spoke a bit in high schools. I spoke because I was also raped. I spoke to boys and I spoke to girls, and I used my experience not as a woe is me and poor me, but more this happened and it shouldn't have. So let's take this experience and teach others, right? And that's where forgiveness can take you. That it's now that I'm free from all that, I don't care what they do. If they change, they don't change, that's on them. But I can change, and I can use these experiences to teach other and help them be safe, help them forgive, help them grow, and help them empower themselves in the same way that I have. The forgiveness is also understanding the spiritual part. If you're able to, and that's what we teach in the basic principle, is that you chose this mother and father for those experiences because it was important for you to learn forgiveness. And if I'm just I don't know, Lorelai cancels a show on me, and that's easy to forgive. She's not doing well, she's sick.
I haven't.
But it's an example.
Right.
But it's an easy thing to forgive and let go of, as opposed to what happened to me, all the torture that happened for many years. That was a lot harder to let go of, right? But understanding that my whole purpose was always to teach these things, I wanted to teach from a base of experience. So I know how hard it is to forgive. I know that it's not always easy. But if we remember that this is only an experience, it shouldn't hurt any more than when you play Mario Kart and someone bumps into you and
it gave me a lot of clarity, I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to get into my personal life, but you and I have a lot of similarities. As friends, we know this. And when I had something confirmed that happened to me as a young child, I took a day or so, and I don't know how I was able to do it, but I was able to see that person who did what they did as a soul, and why they did what they did, and the forgiveness thing. And it's very hard to put into words now, but am I forgiving what they did? No, that should never be done to a child. But to be able to forgive them and see them from that experience, from a soul perspective, to be able to do that. And guys, don't get me wrong, it's not easy. And there may be days sometimes we go back and that anger is still there below the surface. That means there's a little bit more work to do, right?
Yeah.
To be working on it, especially when you're a young child. Young child is helpless. They don't have a voice.
And I mean, you're asking me to explain this, but this is a 2-day class, right? So I can get you guys there in 2 days.
We've got a lot of questions though, Sonia. So people want to talk about this too, right? So, and it's in your book, so this will give them just sort of a little piece And there's a lot more to her book that can kind of bring this all together, like almost like a foundational, like she said, level 1, you guys. So if you're looking into this and this resonates with you, I highly recommend get her book. Get her book. She's got many great books, but get it because it'll really give you a great perspective. Because Carrie's saying the biggest forgiveness is forgiving yourself. That is huge. That is the
Yes.
hardest one. We hold anger against ourselves for decisions, and the internal struggle is real.
Absolutely.
100%. And I think that's
Yeah.
the part too about loving ourselves. Loving
When
ourselves.
I think I came to that realization when I was actually writing my biography, right? Because I'm writing all these things, and it's true what I write in there. And so I'm like, yeah, I tried drugs. I never fell into the heavy stuff, but I did try drugs, and I drank at one time, right? I stopped doing drugs when I was 18. So no,
Yeah.
and but I realized writing the biography and putting every event one after another, I was like, you know what? I was completely alone. Like, it's easy for 45-year-old me to judge 15-year-old me, right? Because the 45-year-old me knows so much better, and but at the time, and this is how I got to forgive myself, right? Because while I was drinking and while I tried the pot and whatever, I would block my gifts. And so I would navigate life like in a dark tunnel instead of, feeling guided and supported and being in the light. And I was like, I knew better. Why did I do that? And it was, I needed to belong to something. I wanted to be part of something. I felt so isolated. I felt so lonely. And that's what everybody else was doing. And in order to belong, I did what they were doing, right? So there's a whole follow through story. And I was like, I need to let that go. I need to allow myself to, I did the best that I could with what I had and what I
I
knew.
was just thinking that you do the best that you can. And you know what? There's reasons why, right? It helps numb some of that pain. It's a little bit of an escape. Maybe it's a little bit of rebelliousness too at that age, trying to take some of that power back when you had no power. There's many, many, many reasons. I do want to throw this in here. Carrie Fast says an awesome movie about forgiveness is The Shack. I don't think I've watched that movie, so I might break that.
It's a movie about a father whose child gets kidnapped and killed, and he's detaching from his family, and everybody feels guilty because his two older children were in the lake swimming, and one of them, they were on a kayak and it flipped, and so he ran into the lake to save one of his child, and that's when the youngest child that was still on the ground got taken. So the child is feeling guilty, he's feeling guilty, right? So their family life is destroyed, and then he gets a message in the mail to meet I don't know if it's God, but he has to meet someone at the shack, and he thinks it's the perpetrator that he's going to meet, but instead he goes to this shack in the mountain and he meets God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost.
Oh.
And yes, it's a very, very good movie, and it explains, the brokenness of his father was beating him, and then he sees because he asked God to judge the person who hurt his little girl. And God shows him a movie about a young boy being beaten and chased and yelled at. And she's like, should I punish him too? And he's like, yes, you should. But she says, that child is your father when he was little.
That's right? What I was thinking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's explaining that people are broken because of what happened to them. And we are the brave souls coming to try and break that cycle and make things change. Now, I know that a lot of people are complaining about the state of the world today, but we've gone through and eliminated slavery in a huge part. There's still sexual slave. I'm not an idiot. I know this, but it's not legal. We recognize that this is wrong. We've changed to women have rights now. Children are no longer supposed to work. There's a certain age where they have to be children. They're not supposed to be working, right? It's not everywhere in the world, but we're working our way there, trying to uniformize this knowledge of how to treat each other.
Well, Mish is asking, we've got a couple questions. There's a good one from Dragon or Kevin. There's a couple in here. So Mish is saying, but don't things happen to us to learn lessons?
Yes, exactly. They do happen to you because if nothing would happen to you, you wouldn't evolve, you wouldn't change because you'd be becoming complacent. So you would just sit there and just say, well, life is good. Why should I change it? Right.
Yeah, but
So
that's how life is when I talk about these things, because I say when life is wonderful, what do we all say? Oh my gosh, I wish this could be like this forever. It's just amazing. It's wonderful. And the way the world is, and I do believe in the future, not near future, but in the future, it won't be this way. But the impetus for change for most human beings is when something awful, tragic, sad, diabolical, whatever it may be, that's when people can make the choice to change. Could be to forgive. There could be many things, but that's usually when it happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I have another example that might help, but I just wanted to see Kevin's comment.
Oh, good. Okay, I was saving it. Okay, so Kevin says, I'm still confused. Clear that karma, clear that lesson. He's not quite sure. And I'm glad you asked, Kevin. This is a topic. A lot of people, it's a hard thing when it comes to karma to understand what it is.
All right. So the karma is the lesson. If you understand your lesson, your karma is gone. It doesn't exist because your lesson is learned. So it's a little bit like you're in grade 1, you pass, you go to grade 2 now. And grade 2 is the Dharma. Now you know how to do this, you have to do this, and you have to help others achieve that.
So then he says, forgive and forget. I can't unsee and forget, but I have forgiven so someone else could have peace.
Well, like I say, I can't forget what happened. It's part of my history. It's part of my past. It's still there. But I no longer have the emotional attachment that was making me angry or sad or hurt. It's now just a story. And I use that story to help others not to do the same thing or to get them out of the situation they're in, to show them I did it, so can you. Right? So you're not meant to forget the experience, but you have to stop being a victim of the experience. So
I'm glad you added that, because one thing I've always hated. Okay, I've never been obese, but I've had a weight problem since I've been 10 and had to watch it. Been on many, 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 many different diets, for example. And what people will say, and it's not just in the diet industry, it's everywhere. If I can do it, you can do it too. And I've always said, no, that's not necessarily true, because each and every one of us is an individual experiences. But I hear what you're saying, by leading by example, I think, and by showing people through examples and real life examples about how to do this, because this is a difficult subject. I'm really glad we're talking about this tonight. I am, because we've got another question here.
Yes.
So, hi, Benno. I didn't even know you're there. Benno's in the future too, from Australia, I believe. Once we have endured in its uncompromising and once we have endured life in its uncompromising and challenging fashion, we have felt the angst of Munch. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the guy that screams, the painting. I know what he means. I know what he means.
But other people may not either, so I'm glad you shared that. And we endure on. We enter the dark night of the soul. How does one exit that stage?
Very, very good, Benno, and welcome. The dark night of the soul, let's explain that, because that's a term being used in different circles. So
all over.
So the dark night of the soul is an expression that reflects a time in your life, and it's not one night. It could be 5 years. It could be 1 week, or, it could be a long time. I've had sorry, what?
Could be a decade, could be long.
It could be a very long time, right? That's usually represented by a lack of energy or burnout, a depression, right? Everything is dark and everything is difficult, and you have a hard time being able to move forward because you're just stuck in that terrible period. So I had a few, but you're almost suicidal. So it's a really dark place. And that's why we called it the dark night of the soul. Usually, a dark night of the soul is preceding a huge spiritual enlightenment. So for all the darkness that you're enduring right now, imagine the same amount of light will enter your life. Right. So it's important that it's not something that, Benno, and I don't want to minimize your experience because it's not something that I can explain in 5 minutes here. But seeking someone who does energy work might be quite helpful to you. But you need to understand the reason what is happening. The best way that I can explain it has to do with attachment, and that's again another Buddhist explanation. For example, I was attached to my mother, loving and caring for me because that's what a mother does. My attachment makes me miserable because I kept showing up and trying to be everything my mother wanted me to be, not thinking of my needs and who I want and what's important to me. Because I want her to acknowledge my presence. I want her to say, I'm your mom, I love you, you're my daughter, I'm proud of you, all of those things. All right.
But once you come to the realization that you're never going to hear that, because they don't have it in them to tell you, I am telling you, it makes it so much easier.
And that's what releasing the attachment means, right? There's another time where my ex-husband convinced the children that they have to choose between living at his house and my house, but I'm not aware of this, and that's not the truth. But he's been manipulating the kids for like 2 years. So I find out a few months before my daughter's 12th birthday that this is going on. And she's like, but obviously, you don't really care because you never told us how much you love us and how much you want us to stay with you. And I'm like, hang on a second. And they left and went to live with their dad. I had to go through this years of courts to prove, first of all, that it was alienation going on. Meanwhile, I'm almost bankrupt, having to pay child support. It's a nightmare. Right. And I finally went in court and they have recognized there was alienation taking place, and the kids are being sent to a specialist in the alienation therapy. And I'm feeling very hopeful. And after a year of therapy, it's all falling apart. And at that point, I am defeated. I am depressed. I am lost because they're my children and I want to be a mother to them. And I have a hard time letting go because what am I going to do for those children? I can't do anything anymore. And I realized that my attachment was, what does it look like to be a mom? In order to be their mom, it was, they had to be with me. They had to spend time with me. I had to take them to school. I had to help, right? I had an attachment of what that looked like. And I reminded myself that they chose this as souls. This is part of their way of learning what they came here to learn. They have to experience this detachment from me to realize and understand things and gain experience and knowledge. I have to let go of my attachment and be there. So it didn't mean that I abandoned them. It doesn't mean I don't love them anymore. I love them. If they come, they're welcome with open arms. And it's just going to look different than it looked like when I raised my son. It's just a different way of motherhood.
That's a hard thing to do, to let go of what it looks like. But I never, when I work with people, tell them to do this, but I'm going to share an example for myself. I tried and tried and tried and tried till I was about 43 years of age, and I'm going to be 61 in August. And I did everything because my family on my mother's side has a habit of not talking to anybody, using grandchildren as weapons, you name it. I did everything. I lived my life to make my mother happy. She was never happy. Yeah. Until one day there was a straw that broke the camel's back, and I won't get into it, but it was like something snapped, and I know where it came from. It came from my higher self and from my team. We all have teams. I'm not special. That, Laura, the only thing that's going to change is you. The only thing, other people, you can't, as again, an attachment of what a mother should look like. If I only kept her happy, this wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen. First of all, I wasn't making myself happy. Very, very sick too, by the way, guys. So it can affect you physically. I've never been healthier at the age of 61 versus all the way up to almost 43 years of age. Never, and I'm not saying it's going to heal you, but when you start realizing this, that the only doorstep you can be responsible for is to keep your own doorstep clean and let go of what you think it should look like or what it should feel like or why are these people doing this or why blah blah, right? We got to be responsible for ourselves. So I clearly heard this from Spirit that the only thing that can change is you. how you
Yeah.
interact with this, how you choose to move forward. And for me, and I'm not telling other people to do this, I had to go no contact. And I
Mhm.
have gone no contact. I would not be living the life I am living right now. I know, Miss, you were joking, saying if my parents had taken birth control. I can tell you right now, if I was still living that way, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd still be married to the first husband. I'd be doing everything to live my life to make other people happy. And I'm not telling people to go tell anybody that causes them any grief to go, cut them off or whatever. You have to do what you have to do individually, but we have to be responsible for ourselves, including that big piece, like you said, Sonia, of letting go of what we think it should look like, or if only I do this, if only I do that, this is how it will turn out. No, that's not the way it is. And I
Yeah.
also say this, I know I have some clients that aren't chatting but are listening. It's a gift too, in a way. It's a
Yeah.
really, really,
And,
really,
and I don't want to minimize what Benno might be going through. The way he explained it
I'm
sounded
not
pretty
trying to
visceral.
minimize, but I do want to add this quickly. It's a gift when you are dealing with difficult people. He was putting in the chat, he's very well aware about the dark. I think he asked that metaphorically from the comments.
Okay.
It's a gift when you deal with these people, maybe that hurt you or do whatever they do, because you know what you are going to get. It is a crappy, crappy gift, but you know what you will get. Please continue. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Sonia. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I know how hard it is when you're stuck in it. Right, when you're going through I was crying, I was suicidal, and then I heard a voice, just phone someone's there for you, just they'll pick up. And the person I phoned didn't pick up, and I'm like, see, I'm all alone. And it was horrendous, but there's like just one more, just and I was in the A's kind of thing, so I just phoned the next A under the brother that I called, and she picked up, and she's like, okay, listen, we're actually really close to your house, come and join us. And they were there and it was a circle of women. I think there was about 10 women there, and they really lifted me up during that weekend and gave me the strength to move forward. And one of the decisions I had made was, what was making it really hard is that I was in the house where my kids used to be. So I saw my kids everywhere, but just amplified the feeling of missing them. So we sold the house, and we just moved. It was a big decision, but it was just like I needed to be in a space. We changed the furniture, we changed everything, so that I wasn't constantly reminded that they weren't there. And now we're
made
talking.
the choice to reach out for help, right?
Yes.
You made the choice.
Yeah.
That's so important, and you are right, because I'm glad you said that. Like Benno was saying, 100%, Lorley. I'm seeing it in the chat, but for people maybe that are hearing this, that maybe aren't chatting here or listening to this, it's so important to reach out for help if you feel you are in that proverbial night of the soul. Because like Sonia said, she didn't give up. She kept calling. She made some changes to be like with what you've shared here, because I'm telling you, it can seem like the deepest, darkest hole that one day, but the next day it could be completely different, right? And we need to keep and reach out for help. Reach out for those people that will support you and help you through this and love you. Because that's one thing I also say for people: show up for yourself. If you've had a really, really awful, and that was awful what you went through, Sonia, right? This is the time, if you can, to really, really baby yourself. You don't even need to spend money. Say you're financially in the hole. Maybe this is you just, if you lay in bed and eat Cheetos the whole day and watch whatever kind of movies that make you, and I'm just being facetious here, but what I'm saying is really starting to show up for yourself too, if you can, in just tiny little ways. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes
there was a lesson in that for me too, because I had to do everything on my own, and everything always had to be perfect. And right, it comes from a narcissist mother. And then I realized I don't have to be perfect, and they're still going to love me if I'm not perfect. They're still going to be, and I don't really ask. So when I do ask, people like, you really need help, will, and they show up. And I'm surrounded by those people. So, in a way, you're going to find out who your friends really are, right? I'm glad you're okay, Benno.
Okay. So thank you, Benno, for sharing that. And Ian says, hard to help others. if you can't help yourself. There was a couple good comments. Well, they're all great comments, but Benno said micro moments of feeling over time pulled me out of that place gradually. And he said, I guess I feel more connection to my spirit and the understanding of that. I know who Benno is, not like best friends, but I know like he's in a good space too. So, but that I'm glad that you pulled me back into this too, Sonia, because that takes a lot to share something like that and ask those kind of questions. Now, this is a good question that Mish asked. She says, so if others don't forgive you, is that why it can be so hard to move on? I think that's a really good question.
The others will forgive you if you forgive who has hurt you. So that's one of I know she mentioned Jesus. That's what Jesus was teaching us, right? You can be forgiven the same way you forgive others. Now, I think that if you can't move on, you have to forgive yourself. You have to make amends for what it is that you feel guilty and what is stopping you from moving on. And that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily reach out to the same people, but you can pay it forward. Now that you know better and you're not going to do this behavior again, there's ways to pay it forward, to be there for, and then show up now. And that's going to help you forgive yourself.
And I think if you've done everything you can to try and make amends, we can't force someone to forgive us as much as we wish they could. So all you can, and I love that you said that we can pay it forward. Right? Pay it forward. Yes. If you've done everything you can to try and make amends and somebody just can't, there are people that hold grudges for whatever reason. And again,
and that's on them.
Yeah, because what we forget too, right, guys, is when people act crappy to us or they say awful things or whatever that may be, 9 times out of 10, it's what they're going through in their life. And they may not even realize it either. Maybe they're hurt, maybe they're whatever, and they're taking it out on others, right? I've seen it so many times where it had nothing really to do with the person. Don't get me wrong, it's give and take. But a lot of times, like say you're in a store and someone's super crappy and rude to you every time you see them or whatever, that 9 times out of 10, that's their situation. They're taking it out on the people around them, right? And we can only be responsible for ourselves, or like you said, pay it forward if someone won't forgive you.
Yeah, you can't get them there until they're ready to go there. You want to read that?
She said, sadly, doo-doo, I'll say, can stick. And you're right, because I have family members, certain family members that they've never said sorry in their life. It's everybody else's fault, or they hold grudges, or what. That says everything about what they're going through and what their journey is and what it is, right? All we can do is be responsible for whatever part we may have played. If we hurt them, whatever we've done, we can't make them forgive us. All we can do is try. And that's why I said, I love what you said, pay it forward. Or like Carrie Ian, he said, I knew that I was ready to help others after I quote unquote fixed myself.
Yeah. You need to heal yourself, right? You're not perfect. So it's important to look at your own, what do you call it? Belly button? Look at your own self first. Like, what did I do that caused this? Right? How did I trigger this? Or how was I part of this? Because as an adult, I'm not talking about children and abusive situation, but as an adult, you're carrying a backpack, and your backpack is full of your history and your own emotional garbage. And you may be filtering things through that garbage, right? So you may have played a role in what's happened.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you an example. I had someone who, they were twins, and the one twin was an awful person. And so I decided that they were no longer allowed in my vicinity, my place, my home, my work, right? So they're just not welcome. And the twin's like, so you're lucky because, I can't do that because he's my twin. I said, so if he wasn't your twin, would you accept that kind of behavior? Well, no one would swear at me. No one would yell at me. No one would boss me around. I'm like, okay, so why do you accept it? Because it's your twin doing it. And honestly, the person was like sitting there, and I'm like, take your time, right? And they're playing this in their head, and they're like, because he's my twin. I said, does that justify this behavior? Is that, would
You
you?
gave such a good example, because I was trying to say this before about for myself deciding no contact. It's not about myself, but where I was going. You asked a perfect question there. Would you have allowed this from anybody else, but because they're your twin, you're taking it?
Right. And
Mhm.
then the person's like, am I a horrible person because he's my twin? I said,
No.
you're not the horrible person here. And you're allowed to set the boundaries and say, you can't treat me like this. Even though I'm your twin, I don't deserve to be spoken to this way. I don't deserve for you to blow up at me this way. You can talk to me normal. I can listen to you, right? So, and they've broken contact. They're not in contact. And says, so how does it feel? He says, I feel like I'm finally respecting myself. So
That's
the
a
shift.
boundary. That's where I was going with this. You keep taking it, and I'm very visual, and it's like spirit was showing me. I was just taking my head and banging it against a concrete wall. Just kept doing it over and over and over. If I keep doing it, if only you do it harder, if I do it enough, things are just going to turn out great. And that's where that message came through. I know it did. That the
Mhm.
only thing that's going to change is you. Right?
Well, I realized I was in my 20s and I went to university because that's what my mom said I should do. I should be a career woman. I should do this and I should do that. And then at one point, I realized, even though I'm doing all these things, not once has she said, I love you. Not once did she say, I'm proud of you. Not once. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I
You
living
mean
the
your
life
mother didn't take responsibility for you going, that the only reason you became what you became because she did it all for you?
right? So I was like, you know what? Hang on a second. And I think to answer Benno's question, one of the things I started asking myself was, what makes me happy? What brings me joy? What makes me feel good about myself?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started doing things differently, because now I was doing things for me, and independently of what anybody else would think or would feel about what I do, I just stopped giving a damn and I just started doing what mattered to me. And this is when all this work started to come around and come together, right? So this is what I'm passionate about, and I hope it shows. But helping others get rid of the hole they're in and getting them out of their pain, and them helping them find love and joy,
Yeah.
and it's within everybody's reach. It really is. So that's the idea behind the Wisdom School of Spiritual Transformation, is that I'm trying to help the individuals not depend on me, or but depend on themselves, and grow and heal and allow themselves to be who they're always meant to be, and doing so in stages so that it's not overwhelming. You don't have to be the Christ light on earth like next week. You take your time, you grow yourself into where you need to be for yourself.
Yeah, but when you start to do this work, like with the book that you're putting out, never mind, all your books are incredible. They really are. And I have some of them, folks. I do. They're incredible books. But when we start to do this, and most of us that are in, kind of heading along this path here into the spirituality type, even if it's whatever you want to call it, okay, but you're wanting to change and make life a better place, and you start doing that inner work. When we start clearing out some of the stuff we've been carrying in the proverbial backpack, you'd be surprised, because it makes room. And I guarantee you, there's bigger and better things that come your way, because your vibration changes, your energy changes, like attracts like energy. It brings bigger and better and wonderful things into your life. Doesn't have to be physical, doesn't have to be material. But you start finding too that when we start working on ourselves and learning to love ourselves too, with boundaries in place and whatever we need to work on, right? You find you start doing things, you start finding that passion in life. And like you said, you're passionate about this. You're incredible at what you do, right? And then you're able to help other people. That's why I love what I do too, right? And there's many people that do the type of work that we do. But the thing is, right, resonate with a bunch of different people, and you learn from others and people that have really been there and gone through the experiences, right? And it starts to help you. And when I said earlier, it always used to drive me crazy when people would say, well, if I've done it, you can do it too. It's not that way. It's if you will, sort of to show people that I'm not giving you a bunch of bull crap here. It can happen for you, and that's why it's important. Mhm.
Yeah, and that's why in the book I also approach energy. You know, we talk about how connecting to the earth, how to recharge your own batteries, how
We didn't
to.
get into the elementals yet. She's got stuff how to connect with elementals, and now you know
We
why
were
I
just
have
getting there.
now you know why I have Sonia. We're almost out of time. Not yet. We got a few more minutes, but I was going to say that now you guys know why I have Sonia on a couple times a year, because her and I are never at a loss to talk about things, whether it's an off air, on air, and like I say, I'd love to do a whole show on that. But I'm just going to read Benno's comment that he's sharing. He says, "For me, it was unlearning what my mother taught me, which is I am worthy. I am a good person, and not the sum of my actions and achievements only." Thank you for
Definitely,
sharing that. That's
definitely,
powerful.
and I think those are the key ones. You know, I am worthy. I am safe.
I
I'm
matter.
important in the
Mhm.
divine plan. I'm I'm lovable.
Oh, did we lose? I don't know what happened to Sonia, you guys. I hope she comes back on us here. Just as she said, I'm lovable. I'm not going anywhere. We'll hang out here. Something must have happened. I don't know what. But she is right about that. You know what? And that's the hard part, is the self-love. Here she is. She's back. I knew she'd come back. Hang on. Add to this. What happened to you as you were lovable?
It says I had a message.
Added.
This page is using too much
I am
information and
gone.
energy. It said that we're reloading because it's using significant energy. I'm like, well, this never happened before. Okay, I'm
That's
back.
okay. Anything can happen during a live show. So, and it's happened before years ago, because we're going on 7 years here in July with UPRN. I remember one time it cut out on me, and I had a guest. I usually have a guest, and I didn't say to them, sometimes anything can happen during a live show. And they were left sitting there, and I kept thanking the powers that be that I had a sign in on my phone, because like right back, my guest was just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, actually, that happened to me. I did a podcast just last Thursday, and so she's like, and she's super good at it. I had a guest on the show, and she's like, okay, can someone write a message to make sure that we're still live here? Sonia, I'm sure we'll be back in no time. And I'm like, I'm back, I'm here. I live in a country, right? I don't live in a city. I live
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. So we don't have actual wired internet. So it's an antenna on the roof. So sometimes if something, cuts off the signal, it happens, right? So
Everybody is saying, what a great show. They are saying, great show. We need 8 hours. I've been seeing this. People, I knew people were going to want to talk about this, because I don't think I've ever done a show. I mean, there's so many. We didn't get into the elementals, you guys. We could get more into past lives. There are so many things in this book. We didn't get into the chakras. We didn't get into the Akashic records that are in this book. There are so many things. You guys know I'm going to have Sonia back on, though. I always have her on every couple months.
So let's do a little survey. How about we do a little survey next time I'm on, which will probably be like September. Do you guys want to talk about past lives? Do you want to talk about elementals? Do you want to talk about the Akashic record in detail? Let us know what you want, and I'd be happy to oblige. And
we can talk about anything. Like, that's not limited. Like, we can talk about anything.
But today we figured we'd talk about the new book, just because it just came out this month. It's fresh off the press.
Yeah. I didn't even know, because Sonia was very diligent, you guys, and messaged me. I was in a meeting on Tuesday, and so I got busy, and I messaged her. I go, well, what do you want to talk about? Because people love when we talked about the Bach flower essences. I'd had nobody on to talk about that yet. And then you go, I've got a new book you want to talk about. I go, absolutely. You can even see my messages. I went, absolutely. Oh, look at this. So Kevin would love to talk about dream travel, past lives. Guys, feel free to put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. We got a few more.
Yeah, so I like it when I can sort of prepare myself a little bit on, what should we bring up during the topics. And I know all that stuff, but, linking past lives to remembering past life, how does that happen? How can we access them? What's the use? Can we transform it, right? We can talk about that, all of that in September. I'd be happy to. That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
So,
And if you
and
guys,
and something new
okay,
that I have, sorry, something new that I have is also I have 3 online classes now. So no matter where you are in the world, I mean, there's still the time difference that might be a little,
oh,
sticky, but we do I do offer 3 different online class. So if you want to work with me, we can do that.
the other thing I want to add, if you guys can't think of it now, or you're watching on the replay, hit
Mhm.
either one of us up on social media. We're both on social media. Hit us up and let us know if there's a topic you got. And I mean this for everything. I was thinking this tonight, even before we came on. I don't say this enough. You guys, if there's someone you want me maybe to try and have on, or a topic you want me to talk about, this is even before I talked to you. I maybe Spirit knew we were going to talk about this. I thought I'm going to mention this at the end of the show tonight. Hit me up. Let me know. Is there something you guys want to see, or you? I just love having a conversation, and I love that you guys are all part of it. So let us know. And right,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the show is more for you guys than for us, right? We're
yeah,
here to
we
give
know that.
information, right? We're here to provide examples, making it easier to understand and facilitate what you're going through and trying to, light your light kind of thing. So it's what you guys need. We just keep, for whatever suggestion comes to mind is I trust Spirit that's what I'm
Mhm.
getting. So that's what we'll talk about. But obviously, if we can respond to your need by specifically answering your own questions, then by all means. That's how my show started in the first place. I'd have people at shows, at fairs, and asking me the same questions about Atlantis, Lemuria, and I kind of got tired of answering, so I did a podcast on that, and I said, just go watch the podcast. It's 90 minutes. It's filled with information, right? And that's what it's. That's how it came to be, right? Answering
Mhm.
questions that people had so that you're a bit more aware of what's going on and understanding how to play by the rules and then gaining so much more out of it.
Absolutely. And Kevin just added so much love to you both and all here in the chat. And we feel exactly the same about all of you. I was just thinking that actually, you guys, the reason what I've envisioned before every show, I do this. I say to Spirit, okay, Spirit, where are we going with this conversation? Because Spirit knows who's going to see the show. And then, you know what? I always tell people, whether I'm on this show, I'm a guest on somebody else's show, even privately, you guys make this show. I like this show to feel like we're all in a big living room having a great conversation. And that's why it's important. And you guys ask the best questions. You are funny as all heck. And and we didn't discuss where we were going tonight. We just said, let's talk about the new book. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys. If you're, and we just touched on a few of the subjects. There's so much content in this new book because we talked about the new
Yeah.
book before it came on. Check out her other books. She's got incredible books out there. Please absolutely support her. We are almost out of time now, but tell people, where can they sign up if they want to say work with you or take some of the courses, the books, whatever you got coming up. Sonia, please let people know.
Okay, so I think that the easiest place to go is thanks, Benny. I think the best place to go is just go to soniaroy.com. From there, you can find my Facebook, my Insta, my LinkedIn, my YouTube. Everything is there. But there's a contact form right there on the website as well, so you can reach out through that. You can reach out through messengers. There's a phone number. You can also give me a call, right? The dates for the classes right now, I'm heading to Quebec. I'll be there for a whole month. And we're having the retreats this summer. So I have a 1-week retreat on 12 level of consciousness. I have a retreat on the 5 dimension, which is all the elementals and all of those things. And I have a retreat for shamanism Reiki. So that's what I'm busy with during the summer. And we're starting the online classes September. So right now they're on Wednesday, but if it's filling up quickly, so I was thinking of maybe opening up another day of the week. So if I have people from overseas that are interested, it's important for them to let me know because that's when I teach on Friday. So for them, it's Saturday morning, so it's doable for them as opposed to, So there's ways that if I know who wants the class, I usually will adapt to the time change and try to be as flexible, thank you, as I can to allow everybody a chance. What else do we have coming up?
Well, your book, the new book, you said to get on
Yeah.
Amazon. It's not on the website yet. You said, right?
No, it'll be like I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay, so tell them the name of the book again, and just for people listening, just in case they want to buy the book too, please.
So the I can put the link actually on the chat here.
There'll be
But
people that won't see it though, Sonia. Remember, I told you 80% of our audience is audio
Right.
only.
Okay, so let me give you the ISBN. How's that? So just give me a second. I'll find the ISBN. And
well,
with
can you
that,
read the name?
pardon me?
Can you read the name of the book?
Yeah, the name is Basic Spiritual Principle,
Okay.
Theory Book Level 1. And the ISBN is 199-006-7190. So
Okay.
199-006-7190. If they put that on a Google search, it will take them immediately to where they can order the book. And my book's available on all platforms. So amazon.ca.com, .eu, Asia and everything. So yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being here. You guys don't go anywhere because Dolly Saffron and Preston Denon are coming up right next with the Light Gate. If you guys ever want to get a hold of me on any social media platform. I offer psychic and mediumship readings, crystal Reiki, which works with your chakras and your aura. Most people don't know that. I do Akashic Records. I do spiritual teaching and mentoring. I'm going to probably start offering animal communication. Not yet. I'm still working on it, but that's another service. I also have not, I know I promised I was doing courses. We've had a few hiccups between Leanne and I, but it's coming with health things and stuff, but it's coming, I promise you. So right now, the best place is facebook.com/the Angel Rock, but I am going to go to a domain name website. You guys, or just hit me up on social media. Just contact Messenger is usually the fastest, quickest. I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring all the shows here on Mondays as Carnation Mondays. Next week, you guys love this lady too, Marcia Tekau. She's over in Denmark. Every time I have her on, you guys love her just like you love Sonia. So I want to thank you all so much. Everybody's saying awesome show. We will see you next Monday. Hang around for Preston and Dolly coming up next, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.